I'm Gareth Kane and welcome to Ask Gareth. The idea here, as always, is very, very simple. You ask me questions about sustainability, green business, corporate social responsibility, and I do my best to answer them. And the question this time comes from Dave Moorman of Staffordshire University. And Dave asks, is the best strategy to recruit sustainability champions from those already convinced, or spend time converting unbelievers? Well, Dave, there's a whole raft of issues embedded in that question, implicit assumptions and things, and I hope the following 3 points will help to tease a lot of those out. First point, do not preach to the choir, which I suppose is the simple answer to your question. Because basically, to get to sustainability, we have to get people to make different decisions to the ones they would make normally. So we have to appeal to the people who are making decisions who are not making them in the best interests of sustainability. Now, to do that takes a bit of guile, because if you look at most green communications, green engagement techniques, they scream green at you. And whereas that might appeal to the people who are already converted, to use Dave's phrase, the people who are not interested will just remain uninterested and walk on by. Now, my approach to tackle this I call green jiu-jitsu, which is to reframe sustainability to match the views of your audience. So if you're dealing with engineers, you throw out all the sort of tree-hugging stuff, and instead you start to use engineering language, engineering tools, and problem-solving workshops, so you get engineers in to look at sustainability as an engineering problem and come up with solutions. And that is very, very effective. I've done it dozens and dozens of times with engineers, and they absolutely love it and they get really engaged. So do not preach to the choir. Second point is about the champions. Now, I have had a whole Ask Gareth about green champions, but green champions must have a purpose. And it is sort of very tempting to get together a lot of people who think the same way as you do and assume that they can change everything. But, you know, if you just set a lot of people loose with this title green champions and expect them to do their own thing without any framework, without any support, without any training, without any authority, then you're just completely unrealistic as to their expectations. And that's why most green champion networks wither on the vine. They just run out of steam. The best example I've seen is with one of my clients, Interface, the international floor covering giant. And you know, I spent some time investigating why their green champion system works when so many fail, and I came to the conclusion that they see the champions as the oil in the engine rather than the engine itself. So they have a whole, complete framework that they're delivering sustainability through, and the champions just help everything along. They're not the driving force, they are the facilitation. So don't expect too much of green champions. But my third point, I'd like to unpick the assumption in the question that you should try and engage absolutely everybody. This whole idea, everybody's got on board. Sustainability is everybody's responsibility. I don't actually believe that is true, and it becomes very impractical. Instead, I think you should target key people. You see, some people have much more influence over sustainability than others. If you work in a sort of manufacturing company, the product designer has influence over the entire life cycle of the product from cradle to grave and future lives if you're a circular economy enthusiast. Whereas a production operator only really has influence over their own workstation. So if you've got finite resources, I think you should be quite brutal and use the majority of those resources engaging the people who have most influence over sustainability. And don't forget, you can use green jiu-jitsu at the individual level as well. So if the person you really need to engage, the chief finance officer, then make sure you're translating everything into pounds, shillings and pence, or dollars or euros, whatever the local currency is. But you have to speak their language. And likewise, if you're talking to designers, then you have to present sustainability as a design challenge rather than sort of a greater calling. And you will find that much more effective. And remember, when you're dealing with individuals, asking for help is always more effective than making demands on those people, because people are busy and they quite often just tell you to go away if you start annoying them. Okay, well that takes us to the triple bottom line, which is target your resources carefully on those who have most influence on sustainability, and reframe sustainability to match their worldview, not yours. Okay, Dave, I hope that answers your question to some extent. I think to get a comprehensive answer, you need to get somebody to write a PhD thesis, or at least a master's on that. Everybody else, if you find this useful, then please share it with your colleagues, with your networks, with your social networks, whoever else. And if you disagree with me, or you've got some great case studies to give, then please do add them in below the video here, because it's always great to get a debate going. And remember, if you want to get every future edition of Ask Gareth, then go to www.terrainfirma.co.uk and sign up to the Low Carbon Agenda, my monthly email bulletin, which will give you every future edition and a lot more free stuff as well. And remember, whether you're making incremental improvements to the environmental performance of your organisation or facilitating massive step changes towards sustainability, it all counts. You're making the world a better place and you should be proud of that. Till next time, goodbye.